the wisdom of the elders combining with the passion and the energy of the youth today is co-creating a new vision going forward that the top down doesn't see, much less support and believe in, but we do, and we're here to do it.
Aloha, this is Colleen Akiko, host of the We Be the Change podcast and blog. This is the second segment of the 4-part series, A Red Heart, with Jim Eaglesmith. In this episode, we'll explore how our gifts, like Jimmy's, can emerge from the heartbreak that brings us to cry for a vision. Jimmy's story helps us remember the sacred in our service and to use our gifts as instruments for our individual and collective awakening, remembering, and healing. Let us know if this conversation stirs something ancient and newly alive within you. I had an experience just about a week and a half ago. I had to go through some medical testing, and I had an echocardiogram. I guess that's what it's called, where the technician put the device on my heart, and I got to see my heart on the screen next to me. And wow, it was a moment seeing my heart beating and working so hard. And it's nonstop, all our lives. You, Jimmy, are Mr. HeartMath man. I had opportunity to learn and experience HeartMath before you and I became friends. And I have witnessed the effectiveness of the tools and have been blessed by coming into an awareness of my heart. And I'm still on that journey. It's been ongoing because it's not just obviously the muscle that I call my heart, but the whole space and the whole connection. And learning how to sing and express from even the place behind my heart and through my heart and breathing. And you felt a calling to become a certified trainer in HeartMath. And I know that's been a big part of your life purpose. I'm wondering if you could share a bit about that.
Part of that came from another shift, going back to that time at Pyramid and learning from the elders. They put me on a path from 1992 to 2012. And I lived off the grid out there. And the shaman was there. And I spent probably 9 months living off the grid and studying. And different medicine people would come out to that place and share lodges and stuff. I was only there 9 months, but during that 9 months, I was told to vision quest and listen, 30 or listen. And so I was on the vision quest. And after the second night, I woke up in the morning at sunrise and a deer was 20 feet away staring at me. There's no trees around, just brush at 8,000 feet on Spanish Peak. And I open my eyes, all I have is a sleeping bag. And she telepaths to me, "You're done here, go down." I laid back down and went to sleep for another hour or so. And then I woke up and said, "Was that deer talking to me?" So I went down, and the medicine man that was praying for me back at the dome, he said he woke up. I saw him coming across, walking towards me. How did he know? He wasn't supposed to come get me for 2 more nights, 2 more days. So he meets me halfway. We walk back, and he hands me this bag with 2 barn swallows in it that were in the nest above his front door of the dome. And the parents were still there, but the 2 little ones, he found on the floor dead when he walked out the door. And he goes, "It's time to go get Jim," because they just gave their life for him so he didn't die on the hill, because I was actually depressed and wanted to die. And so he gave him to me. He said, "Go out to the medicine wheel and give thanks." So I put him there and facing the west direction, nobody else. There's no houses around there for miles. And I'm rattling, facing the west, giving a prayer and thanking God for saving my life, because I felt like, okay, I don't have to leave. I'm going to be renewed again. And while I was doing that prayer for those little birds, I'm also born a bird tribe, Aries, first moon of the east direction is red-tailed hawk. So I'm a bird tribe person by birth. And what happens? A really tiny bird called a hummingbird flies out of the west direction and stops in front of my third eye. Hovers, opens my third eye in my heart, and I just start sobbing out loud, and then she flies away. I go back inside and I tell the brujo, I just had this experience with the hummingbird. And he goes, yes, your medicine name is Little Flower Eagle. You need to follow the path of the Mayan prophecy, which this is the first year of the last Baktun of the Mayan prophecy that ends in 2012, as everybody on the planet remembers. And in 2012, I went up to Lake Tahoe to see a friend of mine, and he had a giant telescope, and he put it up into the sky, and we watched hummingbird fly through the black sun. That concluded my initiation and all that I did for those 20 years in Reno's community to serve humanity. And talk about life-changing things. What I learned from that wasn't so much the prophecy as it was to trust your third ear listening. That digressed a little bit away from your question because it triggered that memory, which led us to now. So I came back to Reno. I walked away from that feeling that I had a new name, I had a new identity, I had a new vision for the future. I think the quote he said to me was, go awaken the heart of humanity through loving service. And that's what the hummingbird medicine was, awakening the heart of humanity through loving service. And so when I came back to Reno, I started learning how to take everything that I'd learned out there and bring it to the school system. And today, Mark Vollmer and I see thousands of children every year in the school system. And some of these sharings that we're talking about right now, and these experiences, especially the animal, plant, and mineral kingdoms, because Mark is a photographer, so we show videos, and he's a geologist. So we take the kids out and we drum and do some of that native stuff in earth. And the children in schools only get that from us. There's nobody else teaching that stuff in the school system. I think about that as all the stories that we just talked about led to that. Today, I'm still in the school system as a grandpa to these children, teaching them the animal, plant, and mineral kingdom stuff. But I can't, in front of the teachers, I can't talk like we're talking about this kind of stuff. That's not what it's about. I have to teach them the arts. But I'll give them a breathing exercise, a HeartMath exercise to do, and that's okay. But back in 1980, I didn't know then that I was today called to the school system to be a grandpa to these children in a spiritual way, not a physical way. And that matches the prophecy that they gave me of the first and last generations. I feel it's the prophecy unveiled post-COVID, that the wisdom of the elders combining with the passion and the energy of the youth today is co-creating a new vision going forward that the top down doesn't see, much less support and believe in, but we do, and we're here to do it. And this moment that we're having right now, it gives me chills and makes me want to cry out loud, because we're talking about something way bigger than us, way bigger than almost we could imagine, and we're part of it. And as we talk about it, I think the sharing is deepening and bringing that red heart out into the open to not only see, but to feel and to share. And it's healing in real time, out loud, going forward. I was prepared for this, but it's still in real time, much bigger and more powerful than I can imagine what our responsibility is consciously to this planet.
As you speak, I feel like the earth itself is just breathing up the life and the grace that we need, that enfolds us and infuses us to move with the truth of this prophecy.
Absolutely.
And how profound that your awareness has centered in the heart, and how universal it is. If we didn't have a heart, we wouldn't be walking around in these earth suits. And you are able, as a HeartMath trainer, to offer this in the public school system, and yet with so much more alongside. I see pictures of you and Mark Vollmer out on the earth with circles of children drumming and singing, and you're getting their feet on the earth with an awareness and an intention in that time They have an experience that you are able to facilitate. And all that you have experienced yourself enables you to facilitate these experiences for these young ones. Sometimes it's school children, but also I have encountered young adults. As we said, there's no coincidences. I've been in a sweat lodge where a young man who works in a coffee shop showed up for the first time because he had spoken with you at the coffee shop a few days prior and was feeling inspired to experience sweat lodge. We embody and offer what is real and life-giving for us. You have put your bucket down really deep into the well, and you have drawn up a full bucket, and you are just ladling out the water to these thirsty souls that Creator is bringing your way. And it's so beautiful to see the many ways that you do this. One way is also the drum circle that you have facilitated for how many years now?
Since 1990.
Okay.
The Reno Buddhist Center has hosted it downstairs since 91. But the first year I was out in the community looking for where to settle. And then after that, I was called to the Buddhist Center. And once we did one there, I knew we were there to stay. It also led to the Interfaith Association, where I was able to share the songs and drumming with all the other faiths.
Yeah.
And I found out that it's all nations, all faiths, one prayer. Our Looking Horse's quote came to being through the Interfaith Association. Wow, how did you know that 60 years ago? You're a part of that. You're a part of that interfaith. You're contributing your red heart to that interfaith association consciousness, as we have a cumulative consciousness. And it's not the different faiths out of the book. It's they all come together and they take what brought them together. And through poetry and music and prayer, we share together that quote from Arvo Looking Horse, all nations, all faiths, one prayer, one mind. And we're so fortunate to have had that. A while back, somebody told me the Interfaith Association in Reno is more prolific than most of them across the country. I didn't know that. And I guess I don't even care. I just care about what we have to let it spread.
We're moving in the collective where there are no boundaries, there are no separations, there are no walls. And so to experience the tangible presence that is the fullness of all these faith traditions coming together in such a good way, it's astounding. I remember a woman coming for the first time to Prayers Without Borders in Reno. She stood up, I think she was teary-eyed, and said, I'm a very reserved person. I don't go to these things, but the love here is so strong, and I feel very loved. That struck me. I've come to know this person over the years as very wanting to serve in any which way she can. She felt the love. That's so powerful. In many faith traditions, there may be within the same faith a level of people who just want to proselytize because, oh, this is the only way and we got to do this or everyone's going to go to hell if they don't do it this way. And then there are people who may be sitting side by side in a service or a gathering who are in a totally different vibration. Their heart is just wide open. And wherever they are, they come in fullness of expression. And I see you, Jimmy, as a person who helps that happen because you show up that way yourself. It doesn't matter what tradition a person is coming from. In fact, it makes it more rich if we have a variety of faith traditions, spiritual traditions coming together. And then to have the freedom to share something from each person's faith tradition, not with an ulterior motive. I'm going to say this and I'm going to loop you with it and yank you in. No, it's more like, this is what gave me life. This is what spurned me onward out of a dark place. This is what really helped me today. And to have the opportunity to share from that place and to just bask together in the truth that we're all in this together, helping each other through. That in itself is so enlivening. So much grace there for us. I feel very blessed to encounter you in those places again and again. Share with you.
No
I
coincidence.
love, yeah, I love how you bring the drum in. Could you talk about that a bit? The significance of the drum. I use the drum also more and more in the gatherings that I am leading. How is that for you? And what do you notice?
As native cultures all use the drum individually, collectively, for everything. It resonates from the heartbeat of the mother. What I was told is that we're reconnecting with the heartbeat of the mother to support bottom up Mother Earth, Father Sky, to support whatever we choose to do. Any gathering that we want to do, if we bring the drum in and just acknowledge with some drumming and a prayer to acknowledge Mother Earth and Pachamama, that show respect. If we start with respect and use the drum, what the drum does is sends the vibration of respect out. And then what we do with it after that is individual and collective gatherings. But if we start with showing respect, just like in churches, they start with an opening prayer. The drum not only encompasses that, but it also shows respect, not just for the humans that are there, but for the mother.
Yes. And respect for our ancestors. Something happens when we resonate the drum beat, the heartbeat of the mother. All those who have gone before us and all those who will come after us, it's the same heartbeat.
When you say before us and after us, that reminds me, one of the central messages from HeartMath is the science. It's not just spiritual, it's scientific, that shows that our cell membranes remember every life experience for our whole lives. When we're sitting there telling stories and drumming and chanting and talking, we're bringing back the memories from the past, from the cell membrane, and it goes into the heart, and the heart tells the brain. The heart sends 80% more afferent neurons to the brain than the other way. And so what we're talking about right now is in our cell membranes. And tomorrow, if we sit around and drum, we're going to bring back this whole hour. It's going to be vibrating through us. It never goes away. You can't release it and let it go. Where does it go? You release it, it goes back into the cell membrane forever. That was one little scientific piece of information that stuck with me from the beginning of HeartMath years ago. Without the science, it's not enough to just trust in your feelings. It helps to have your feelings documented and validated scientifically so that the right and left brains can both have a sharing in that wholeness.
It is the times we live in, but it's okay to test everything. I remember my first exposure to HeartMath, the teacher speaking about the effects of groups of people coming into coherence, which I'd love for you to expound on coherence. But when we are all unified in this high place of caring that can be scientifically measured by instruments in the satellites above the earth, I had to ponder that for a bit. Like, really?
It's a lot.
Wow. We have so much in our hands to use in such a good way. Would that we be using it more and more in these times? So heart coherence, how would you explain that, Jimmy?
There's many different ways of arriving at a coherent moment in time with everything else, not just the heart. Sports. I was an athlete growing up, and to get into a rhythm and timing and coherence where you're communicating with the team, one-mindedness, an athletic team, they want mindful, coherent thinking and feeling to be a better team going forward. It's a real third-dimensional example of it. That what we're talking about and moving forward with is that to make those prophecies become in the moment, in the real time, if we share more from our heart with our communication, then we start communicating more coherently. It's not just the brain talking. It's not just the gut, which has our immune system communicating. It's the heart that is the leader that co-creates and co-communicates with the brain and the gut to give us a complete holographic picture of humans standing in a third-dimensional realm, taking part in it and contributing to it consciously, not just walking the earth and feeding ourselves, we're feeding the field, not our guts. We're feeding the field with intentional acts of kindness, with color blindness that always reminds us that we have overcome with good deeds done. That's just where we're coming from. So we need an emergence, a real convergence without vanity. So my insanity can come to rest in peace. At least let's learn from each other. Then call me your brother. So reach out. Never doubt. Share in the joy of kindness. See through the blindness with radical open-mindedness, because it's never too late for intentional acts of kindness. So my sisters and brothers, let's discover one another's sense of good, because it should come from the heart, like Head Start. So let's restart and beautify the hearts of humanity, because this is our brain on love.
Woohoo!
It asks to come into this moment, and so I just surrendered to it.
This is Colleen Akiko of the We Be the Change series, A Red Heart with Jim Eaglesmith. Thank you for joining us in this special conversation. What did you hear today that resonated deeply with you? If you felt a remembering of your own sacredness, take a moment and just breathe with that. Know that you matter. You are here on purpose at this moment to fully be all that you are. We Be the Change would be delighted to offer a little gift that may encourage you to take the next step in being that human sunbeam that you are. It's called Embrace Your Evolutionary Luminary, a complimentary micro ebook and guide. It's a short read that you'll especially enjoy if you often find yourself overthinking and drifting away from your true self. Just go to songrise.live, that's songrise.live, and request it at the bottom of any page there. Know that we value your comments and your reviews, so please feel free to leave them on whatever platform you're listening on. And feel free to reach out to Jim Eaglesmith on his Facebook page. He'd be delighted to hear from you. Until next time, keep practicing your third ear listening, and thank you for remembering that we change the world by being the change. Namaste.